From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, May 12th, 2015. Silver is trading at $16.43 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,194 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $243. Antiwar.com reports U.S. officials are expressing sentiment similar to other analysts that in the recent weeks, the Syrian government's momentum has waned and that President Assad faces even more risk from the assorted rebels. The big surprise, however, is the admission from the officials that Assad's loss means gains for the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda's Nusra Front, the two largest rebel factions, and that will be the primary beneficiaries of a fading Assad. U.S. officials have often tried to present the war on the Islamic State and the war for regime change in Syria as separate things and have insisted that they could work simultaneously to undermine both Assad and the Islamic State. In reality, the U.S. simply does not have any meaningful allies left in Syria, and they're desperate to the point of trying to create a new rebel faction just so they have someone to back. And despite admitting a huge problem with their current strategy, General Martin Dempsey insisted U.S. policy towards Syria will not change, and they'll remain hostile towards both the Islamic State and Assad at the same time. In Survivor Max by Davi Barker, 11-year-old Max must survive the zombie apocalypse alone in New Hampshire. Slow-moving and non-thinking, the lame brains swarm his home searching for living flesh. Max must apply his Porcupine Freedom Scouts training to plan his escape, but first he must prove that he's too smart to die. Look for Survivor Max on Facebook and Amazon, or read Chapter 1 free at survivormax.com. UPI reports an off-duty Saudi Arabian Airlines plane was seen receiving routine maintenance at an Israeli airport, causing the airline to cancel its contract with the Portuguese firm. The airline, known as Saudia, said Highfly, a company leasing planes to the airline, landed the plane with prominent Saudia markings at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv, Israel, a violation of its contract. Saudi Arabia has no official relationship with Israel and has led the Arab boycott against Israel since the 1970s. The plane, an Airbus A330, was serviced at the airport last week by Bedek, an Israeli company contracted by Israeli Aircraft Industries. A Saudi plane arriving in Israel was a novelty noticed by Israeli media. The Saudi newspaper Arab News, quoting the contract, reported, "Such landing or operation process should take place in a country that shares diplomatic relations with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to enable Saudia staff and civil aviation authorities to conduct inspection and follow up on the maintenance operation at any time." For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports a former CIA officer was sentenced on Monday to 42 months in prison for leaking classified information to a New York Times reporter about a failed U.S. effort to undermine Iran's nuclear weapons program, according to the Justice Department. Jeffrey Sterling was convicted of disclosing national defense information and obstructing justice in January in federal court in Virginia. Dana Bonte, U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, said, "For his own vindictive purposes, Jeffrey Sterling carelessly disclosed extremely valuable, highly classified information that he had taken an oath to keep secret." The Justice Department said that in 2003, Sterling gave information about the clandestine program to a reporter for the New York Times. The reporter, James Risen, fought for years to avoid testifying in the case, saying he could not discuss his sources. He eventually appeared in court, but answered only basic questions about his 2006 book, State of War, in which he described the operation in Iran. Sterling's conviction was a victory for the Justice Department under the Obama administration, which has come under criticism from journalists for aggressively prosecuting unauthorized leaks by government employees. The Justice Department said that in 2000, Sterling, at the time a CIA employee, tried to take administrative and civil actions against the agency. When those moves were unsuccessful, he leaked information about the weapons program in retaliation. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.